Alright, now that we got our red sauce made, or you can start with a can if you'd like. I'm going to make some lasagna. Instead of trying to time the noodles, I cook them off first and get them into some cold water. And some angel hair to go with this red sauce while we're waiting here. So yeah, cook this off. I leave it al dente and then get it into some cold water while I prepare our cheese to go with our red sauce. Alright, our pasta's been cooked, cooled, oiled, and is ready to go. Now we're going to make a cheese mixture here for the layer or two that you want to use the cheese. I like to put my ricotta in there. Save some of your mozzarella for the top layer. So however much you like to put in, it's fine. Just make sure you leave a little to put on top by itself. It makes a nice crust on top. We're going to put in some garlic powder, some onion powder for flavor, and some hard cheese, pecorino, romano, parmesan, whatever. Some people like to add an egg at this point, and any of your dry spices, classically basil, oregano, and parsley. But then we mix this up, and this is going to be our cheese layer. And after that, we cooled our sauce during this process. We're going to pull some of those sausages out, and I'm going to slice them up so it can be a nice thin layer of sausages as we stack it in a pan of choice. Alright, I've taken some sausages out, rinsed them, and I'm just slicing them up here just so that we can make a layer of sausage nice and even in between the cheese and the sauce. Okay, so I'm going to slice up as many as you may want to make the layer. Then you'll have your components here and your noodles, and you can just stack, you know, a layer of sauce on the bottom, then noodles, sauce, cheese, and as many meat of sorts that you'd like. If it's not enough, just strain some more out, slice them up for another layer. Alright, buttering up this pan for flavor and so everything won't stick. Better chance anyways. And then we're going to start stacking. We're going to put our sauce in first to make a nice layer so the noodles don't stick to the bottom of the pan. Another attempt at lubricating this whole process so you don't get a whole baked on mess. And then we're going to start stacking in our layers. So first things first will be our sauce, and then noodles. And after the noodles, it's your choice from there, whether you go with meat or cheese or whatever. You could do all cheese and noodles and sauce, whatever you prefer. Alright, so now I'm putting in the cheese, and after I got the sauce and noodles on the first layer, I like to make sure I get complete coverage with the noodles. Some people just put on one layer where they butt up to each other, but I like to make sure it's completely covered with each layer of my noodles. And cheese doesn't have to be perfect, but I like to kind of make sure it gets at least a good chunk in every piece that's going to be had. So I'm going to end up doing cheese, noodle sauce, and then the meat, and then another cheese, noodle sauce, if I can fit it in there. Alright, we're putting the meat on here. And then we're going to put some sauce on here. And cover that up with some more noodles. And make another layer. cover this with noodles. Alright, I have one layer of everything, and then noodles covering that, and a little seasoning on there. And I have like a kind of like a mixed bag of stuff that's left, and only about enough room for one more layer. So I'm gonna use up the meat I've cut up and chunks of cheese on this last layer. Put a little sauce on there since I have one layer of them all individually made for their own flavors and stuff, you know. And now we can do a little mix of everything. Just kind of all helter-skelter in there. And we'll cover this last layer up with noodles if we can. And then we'll put just mozzarella on top of that to finish it off. That way, when you put it in the oven to finish cooking, it will make that like this nice, you know, golden caramely layer of mozzarella. So we all love that. Alright, so not exactly as planned, but that's kind of how cooking goes. You know, you kind of go with the flow, or at least that's what I do, you know. And I was taught by my grandma, who, you know, always, it's about an environment. You know, she grew up through the Depression, had to use everything that there was around her to use and turn it into something that was good, and that's kind of what got me into cooking. I was watching her make something great out of not always the most. Alright, so we'll cover this with noodles and put some mozzarella on there. We'll be done. Alright, well, that got covered with noodles. I'll put down one last layer of some sauce, this beautiful red sauce, which is also available. Whether you want to make it with your own tomatoes that I like to do sometimes, or just take the canned that's on sale at the grocery store and make something that's damn good. Anyways, so we use the red sauce. I'm going to cover this with mozzarella, and then I'm going to put this in the refrigerator so it'll set up, or the freezer, either one, and then bake it one last time whenever you're ready to serve it. Or you can do like what I might do in this case, which is freeze it and then take it out and cut it up into single serving pieces and pass it out for everybody to be able to just throw in the oven for a meal whenever they want. So this is going to be delicious. It was takes a little time to make the red sauce. Not too much time to throw this together. But if you wanted to get the spaghetti sauce from a jar out of the ready to go aisle, you could put this together in no time. And it's just as good as anything you're gonna get out of a grocery store, and maybe as good as you're gonna get from most restaurants. So enjoy.